are officially 0%.
Oh my god.
KRZLE.
Yeah. Charles. Yeah.
Burt Reynolds pulls out a banana and
Yes,
starts
that's where I was
peeling it.
going.
Butterfly kisses.
Oh my god. Hey, fuck these drums.
The synopsis just isn't good. Oh my god. Okay. And on that note.
Welcome, one and all, to a brand new episode of What was that called again?
Mixing it up.
My name's Thomas.
I'm Wheel.
Oh yeah, this is a movie podcast, everybody,
It's too cool, man. Too cool.
where every week I select 3 movies and I'll read their IMDb plot descriptions to Wheel,
Wheel.
who then has to try to match the plot descriptions to the correct titles. And no hesitation, let's go right into a drink check.
Ooh. Yeah, drink check.
Yeah, what do you got going on over there?
I don't even remember what I got because I made it like an hour and a half ago and I forgot what was in it.
Yes, as per tradition, to those listening, we got on here almost 2 hours ago, and we've been
It has
talking.
been that long.
And we always get on with the intention of like, all right, we got to get on and record and do
Right
other
away.
things. We got like it's Friday night.
Priorities.
We have things to do, but then we end up talking, and then we're like, oh, we've been on here for 2 hours.
Yeah, we did reminisce about a wonderful place in our life, a
Yes.
video store that we went to years ago. What year was that again?
That I think we have mentioned on the show previously.
I love video.
It was
RIP.
it was in spring of 2019.
2019. So
Things were different.
6 years ago, we went to this place. It still is a vivid memory in our minds and our hearts.
Yeah.
I love video. We talked about it before on the show in Austin. Video rental place,
Yep.
Mecca of video rental. I found out today that it closed down 5 years ago.
They closed down heaven on earth.
But the good news is I also found out today a new place opened up with their complete inventory called We Love Video. So go to We Love Video, LUV video.org. That's
Yeah.
the sponsor of this drink check unofficially because they're a nonprofit, so they don't owe us anything.
Yes, they're not. Chip them money, even if you're never going to Austin. They, if you want to do a really quick rundown on what they're doing, like how they're a nonprofit and like what the situation is with
Basically,
that.
it's they took the incomplete inventory of the I Love Video place, which is over 130,000 titles, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, stuff that you cannot find anywhere anymore, stuff that only exists physically, and also modern titles, contemporary stuff. But they took all that inventory from the owner. Well, it was given to them, and now they have a basically a membership program, a monthly membership for those people in Austin or who just want to travel to Austin, like Thomas and I. you could get a membership and explore their entire catalog of physical media. So that's kind of cool. They're keeping that alive. WeLoveVideo.org. So anyway, that was most of the talk, among other things. So it's been a while since I made this drink. And I think I remember what I put in it. I put about an ounce of orange sparkling Celsius, which I'm also sipping
Nice
on.
one. That's a nice one. Yeah.
It is.
I actually just ordered a case of that.
Yeah.
A 12 case.
Not a sponsor, but we'll plug them too because we talk about them a lot. But I like the orange. I like the Fiji apple.
Actually, listeners, if you're gonna buy a Celsius, take that money and send it to We Love Video instead.
Yes,
Save
yes.
yourself. You don't need that 200
Donate.
milligrams
Donate to,
caffeine.
and they are 501(3)(c) or whatever the code is.
Tax
so,
write-off.
Yes, in full or in part, tax write-off. So donate to a good place. But yeah, so I put in about an ounce or so of the sparkling orange. I love the orange. I love the Fuji apple flavor.
Fuji, yeah.
And I just found out recently the grape is amazing. The grape tastes just like...
No, I don't know if I've had the grape one.
Like, it tastes just like cheap-ass grape soda. So good.
I do like that flavor.
Yeah, no, I do. I
don't like grape flavored things,
Nope.
but I do like grape soda specifically.
Grape soda specifically has a unique flavor, and I love that.
Same with orange, actually. I don't like orange flavored things, but I do like orange soda.
I like
the
some-
orange Gatorade, I hate.
Oh, well, that's different. Gatorade is just on its own.
Like orange flavored
That's something-
things are just... I love oranges but orange flavoring
I
is
don't
just
think
never
Gatorade
right.
flavors count. I think they're colors.
Yeah, blue drink. Yeah, the blue one's the best.
Yeah. So, but the orange Celsius is in this drink. Also, I put in straight, unlemonaded lemon.
Oh.
So it's just lemon juice. So there's about
Which, as we always call it, unlemonaded.
yes, unlemonaded. This is pre-lemonaded lemon. So about the same amount of the orange Celsius as the unlemonaded, pre-lemonaded lemon juice.
Yes.
And then I put in equal parts again, so about 1 to 2 shots of white rum. And then I did do about 3 or so ounces. I didn't measure any of this. I'm just eyeballing this. 3 or so ounces of just cold water. I wish I had sparkling, but I didn't. So that's the combination. It's Celsius, orange Celsius, unlemonaded lemon juice, white rum, and some water to thin it out. And then I also heavily sugared my rim.
Oh gosh.
I have a sweet rim today, folks. So that's my drink check. What is yours?
Well, mine is not that fucking wild.
You didn't do anything unlimited?
So I'll start by pointing out that I'm drinking this out of this like a chalice, as it were.
Oh,
I was given
it is
via my partner for Christmas. One of my Christmas gifts is this. It's this kind of it's like a stainless steel kind of goblet thing, like keep the drink cold, because she was like, hey, you drink a lot of wine during your podcast recording, and if it's sitting there for a while, I don't want it to get room temp. I like a chilled wine.
Thinking about you. That's
so
always
yeah,
nice.
she gave me this like insulated wine glass, and I have. So she also, this is maybe a month or two ago now, not a month and a half ago. She got this like a really good deal on one of those, like one of those thousands of internet like fucking wine subscription things.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So she did one order that she got for a really good deal of this like collection of like 6 bottles of wine or something like that, based on like a questionnaire that she filled out, like as far as like what they recommend
your profile.
for you. Yeah. And so she tried to answer for both me and her.
Yeah.
And so we got and they also have like, they show you what the recommendations are, so you can like swap out if you're like, yeah, I don't want that.
Okay, that's nice.
So she got like a mix of white and red, because she prefers white wine, I prefer red wine. And so I'm actually drinking one of those. It is a red wine called Perfect Number 6.
Oh,
because 6 is a perfect number,
I guess.
And that's what the bottle says. And it's okay. It's a little.
Is it perfect?
No.
Is it a 6 though?
No.
Oh, okay.
I would give it. I would say it's a 5 in my honest review. It is. It's. I would say honestly, my first impression was that it is a bit more dry than I enjoy.
Okay.
I don't mind dry. I've kind of gotten to a point with my my palate as such that I'm fine with a dry wine, but I think this is still a little bit more dry than I prefer.
Right.
Like the first sip that I took, I was like, "Whoa!"
Maybe you'll grow into it.
It like had that like warmth in your chest that you have when you take like a shot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was fucked up.
The cuddle from the inside, as I call it.
That's right. Hey, there's a great another plug while we're at it. There's a great Bauhaus album called "Burning from the Inside." Excellent album. Check it out if you haven't before. But yeah, Perfect Number 6. You're getting a 5, and that's my drink check.
All right.
So
there was also wine chat with Thomas. And
yeah, wine chat. We got our sponsorship plugs in up front. So you don't have to skip ahead any during the episode, listeners.
.org.
Yeah, seriously though, everybody, go to welovevideo.org and do give if you have a little bit to give to them. They are a nonprofit, keep physical media alive, including the physical video stores.
And if
they don't exist.
Yeah, if you're still on social media as it slowly burns away into a hellscape that it is, they do have
better or worse. Yeah.
They do have an Instagram. I'm not sure about other platforms. But they do have an Instagram. We Love Video. Again, that's LUV. We Love Video. So follow them on the Insta. I think we'll probably do that on the show Instagram eventually. I'll get to that. but by the time you hear this, I will have done that.
Yeah, you can also follow us on Instagram while we're at it.
Oh, yeah, you can.
WWTCAPOD. WWTCA pod.
Can they email us?
I'm glad you asked, Will. Yes. If you're listening to the show and you think, man, these guys are fucking funny, and I want to send them an email and tell them how fucking funny they are, send us a voice memo even. Record a voice memo into your phone and email it to us, and we will play it on the air. Email it to us at www.tcapod@protonmail.com.
Yes.
We would love to hear from you. We haven't heard from anybody in a long time. And I had a sweet, really funny drop that I was going to do if we ever got a listener mail again, but we never did, so I threw it away.
Oh, you threw it? Oh, dang.
Yep, I had this super secret drop, but
someone
it's gone.
forced Thomas to recreate a drop for the email segment that has
No,
never.
It's too late. It's
Okay.
too late. They don't care. They
All
don't
right.
care.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
One more thing.
Go ahead and ruin my transition. That's
I
fine.
really did. I'm sorry. That was a good transition too. I feel so bad now. I was just going to say, for those who also don't care, we also have a letterbox. We also have a email. We also have an Instagram. And
Oh gosh, I haven't been on the Letterboxd in ages.
I know.
Have you?
Yes. The only reason I know you haven't is because I just recently updated the letterbox, and I was like, "Oh, Thomas has not told me about this." So
I
clearly-
haven't updated my own Letterboxd.
Clearly he hasn't
I've
been-
barely
yes.
been using Letterboxd.
So again, our goal for Letterboxd is to only discuss or list the movies featured here on the show. I've been trying to keep that up. It's my responsibility, and I've just dropped the ball. That's just plain and simple.
That's right. I do a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yes,
Will
a
has
lot.
to maintain the social
things.
media
Once a week.
and sometimes edit.
Yeah, even then, I'm not doing that much at all. But I have updated the list. It is current as of this recording, and we're quickly approaching 200 films featured on the show.
Yeah.
And
That's how you knew.
That's how I knew. Yes.
I didn't. I thought you maybe just did the math randomly.
Nope. Nope. I just literally looked and counted. But I would like to get back into actually writing up things about the films we watched. So we've covered a few since our last visit on the Letterboxd, T-Bone and Weasel.
That's right.
Among others. I can't remember now. So yeah, we'll get back to those two. But I know our listeners are busy and also few and far between.
I know our listeners are busy.
They're busy listening to other podcasts.
The one thing they say about what was that called again is they're the most understanding podcast of their audience's time and patience.
They do say that about us. But I would like to get back to putting more on there. So if you're curious about some of our longer takes on some of these films that we watch and discuss here, hopefully they'll be added soon to a letterbox near you. Yeah,
I will try to remember to get back on to adding on there as I need to on my personal Letterboxd account.
2025. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll swing it back to you.
Eased off, but
to transition.
All right. Hey, Will, are you ready to start this week's episode?
Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what?
What?
Good question.
Okay.
I have 3 movies for you.
Oh, good.
It's just as good of a transition as I was going to do before. I have 3 movies picked this week, and I discovered one of them from Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh, okay.
They had it on sale. They were doing, to start the new year off, why not do our final sponsorship plug for vinegarsyndrome.com. Excellent people over there do wonderful work restoring films in high quality that would otherwise probably be lost.
Yes.
They put a lot of work out, and while the films they put out may not always be of the highest quality, it's always film shouldn't be lost.
Yes.
And they go through a lot of work putting things together, and they track down the people who worked on these things and get interviews with them and commentaries and all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. Do check out vinegarsyndrome.com and purchase a few Blu-rays. But anyway, they kicked off the new year with a daily deal special for the first week of the year. So they had every single day they had a different selection of movies that were on sale.
Okay.
And one of these 3 movies, that's what I was leading up to. One of these 3 movies was one of those deals. And I did not purchase it.
Oh, no.
However, I considered it. but I did purchase a whole bunch of other movies. That's why I didn't purchase this one, because I was like, I actually made 2 really large orders already, and I was like, I'm gonna
You were maxed out
to work through those already. Yeah, I don't need to spend another $15.
So this was one that you were interested in, but not enough to fit into your budget.
Correct.
Okay,
that is correct. So we'll see if you can pinpoint that one.
We'll see how that affects the IMDb ratings as well.
See which one of these 3 has the Vinegar Syndrome feel for you.
Okay.
And we will kick off this journey this week in the year 1970.
All right.
And your synopsis, as written on IMDb, reads as follows. A military pilot makes a valiant effort to be certified insane during World War II so that he can be excused from flying missions. But there's a catch.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
The catch is a mystery. Okay, you gotta watch to find out. Okay, 1970. Sorry, you said a World War II pilot makes a valiant effort to be considered insane?
Yeah, a military pilot makes a valiant effort to be certified insane during World War II so that he can be excused from flying missions.
So he was already a pilot and already in the military. And the war is going on, or this is maybe as a new war, and he doesn't want to have to fly, so he's trying to be considered insane.
Yeah.
Interesting. But there's a twist, you said.
Yeah, the last sentence is, but there's a catch.
There's a catch. Okay, I'm curious what the catch is. Okay. Does not feel familiar. It does sniff a little bit of Vinegar Syndrome. I'll say that.
On that vinegar?
I'll say that there's a whiff of Vinegar Syndrome, maybe, but not much. But yeah, I don't know this movie at all. A military pilot makes a valiant effort to be considered insane so he doesn't have to fly during World War II, but there's a catch. Okay, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I'm intrigued by what the catch is, for sure.
We all are.
Well, yeah, that's the point, right? Of that kind of cliffhanger-y synopsis ending. Okay, next movie, please.
All right. Secondly, you're going to be kicking off in the year 1984.
Oh, okay.
And your synopsis reads as follows. Colonel Braddock launches a mission deep into the jungles of Vietnam to find the POW camp that he escaped from and free the Americans still held captive there.
Oh, this for some reason this sounds or feels familiar. Colonel Braddock, that ring a bell for some reason. Say this one more time.
Yeah. So this Colonel Braddock, he launches a mission deep into the jungles of Vietnam to find the POW camp that he escaped from and free the Americans still held captive there.
Okay. 1984, Colonel Braddock makes his way back to a Vietnam POW camp that he escaped from to free the POWs that are still held captive there.
Specifically the Americans, if it's...
yeah, no one else.
Yeah, other nationalities can stay there.
Yeah,
but...
okay. I definitely reworded that, but it still made sense. The American POWs still left there. Yeah, like I said, for some reason, I don't know why Colonel Braddock really rang a bell. And this sounds familiar.
Well, unless one of the titles is Colonel Braddock's Dangerous Mission, then we'll see if it helps you out.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Well, but I also wonder too if this is just a if this character is well known enough in the world of cinema that it's been referenced or used in other films, maybe. But Colonel Braddock really sounds familiar. I don't know why. I can't say that I'm overly familiar with Vietnam films. Films about Vietnam. And then 84, man, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not confident enough to really say that I'm going to know even this title when it comes up, but I really do feel like that sounds familiar. Colonel Braddock. And going back to a POW camp that he escaped from, that also sounds really familiar. And then to free the Americans who were still held captive there. And that just sounds like going back to the POW camp to free people who are still there. has maybe been done a few times, so maybe that's why that part sounds or feels familiar. But the Colonel Braddock part, that really is like there was a distant bell that was getting louder and louder every time I thought about that name. Okay, final synopsis, please.
All right, your final one comes from the year 1987.
A couple years later, okay.
Yeah, and your synopsis reads as follows. POWs rescued from tiger cages in Vietnam are brought into a secret mission by an army captain. However, when the group finds a cache of gold, greed sets in and the mission goes awry.
Ooh. Okay. I'll try to get through this one. I spaced out because you started saying POWs again, and I was like, oh shit, another one. 1987. POWs held captive in tiger cages are freed, and then the person freeing them that's on this mission gets distracted by money or treasure. Sorry, maybe you have to read this one again to me. I remember the tiger cages for sure. That was a strong point.
POWs rescued from tiger cages
Nailed
in
it.
Vietnam are brought into a secret mission by an army captain.
Okay.
However, when the group finds a cache of gold, greed sets in and the mission goes awry.
So these POWs are rescued, and instead of being immediately sent home, they're like, hey, let's go on a secret mission.
Got one more job.
Let's go one more for your country. One more job. It's secret. No one will know.
Don't you love your country?
Yeah. Otherwise,
are you going to say no to America?
otherwise, back to the cages. I'll just put you back. No one will ever know that you were even free in the first place. So they go on this secret mission to, you said, to discover, and they discovered gold. The mission wasn't to discover gold, though, was it?
It doesn't seem that way based on the wording. And then however, when the group finds a cache of gold, like
so
they
just along the way,
found it.
Yeah, along the way they stumble upon this cache of gold, and they're like, oh shit. So then greed sets in, and the mission goes awry. You said?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, again, the POW thing and being rescued, I literally just said that like that thing has been done several times, so maybe that's why that sounds familiar. It sounds familiar. It feels familiar here too. But then the discovering of gold and greed and mission, that part doesn't necessarily sound. It doesn't sound familiar really at all, but it also doesn't really feel familiar. So that's the part where it kind of deviates. But again, the POW thing. Not that it was like overdone or anything, but there's just a lot of those types of movies. That was a very compelling moment in history. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's going to be interesting. I'm sure that I hope the title has something to do with tiger cages, because they made that very prominent in the synopsis here. It could have just been cages. Held captive in cages, but they were specifically tiger.
Black Stripes.
Yeah, orange and black. Roar in the night.
That's right.
Okay. Let me
all
try.
Right. Well, if you're ready for the titles.
No.
Oh no, you're going to recap.
I'm trying to recap
that's right,
first.
that's
I'm
right.
not ready.
Sorry, getting ahead of myself.
That's okay. I am very specifically not ready for the titles. Okay. So the first film was was it 19? It was 1900s.
Correct.
It was awesome. Was
somewhere in there?
Was it 70?
Correct.
Okay. What was the action on this one?
Makes.
Oh god. What do they make?
Military pilot.
Oh yes. Okay, so this is the one where the 1970 a military pilot makes a valiant effort to be considered insane.
Yeah.
So they can avoid being a pilot in World War II, basically. And
Correct.
then but there's a catch.
Right.
Okay, there's a catch. Yeah. All right, that one I got. Again, doesn't feel or sound familiar, but does have a whiff of Vinegar Syndrome. The second film,
He's smelling that vinegar on that one.
Pungent.
The first one.
It carries far, so it could be wafting off with the other two films. The second film was 1984, and this was the one that was Captain Braddock. Am I saying that correctly?
Colonel.
Sorry, sir. Colonel Braddock.
Yeah.
Is on a mission to a Vietnam POW camp that he escaped from. to rescue the Americans who were left behind or left
Correct.
there. Okay.
Yep. Specifically, just the Americans.
Just
That's
the
right.
Americans, yeah. And then the last film was 1987.
Yeah.
And this was after being rescued from tiger cages, POWs are sent on a secret mission where they stumble upon a cache of gold, and greed sets in, causing the mission to go awry.
Right.
Okay. I think now I am ready for titles, but they're all going to be like military prisoner escape.
Where's my gun?
insane
Yeah.
insane cage, but it's not any of those. It's just okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Where's my gun?
Yep.
Is that what you said? Where's my gun? Where's my gun was like a franchise, I think. Where's my gun 2?
I know Johnny's got his gun.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, actually.
All right, your first title is going to be Missing in Action.
Of course it's going to be that. Missing in Action. Is Missing in Action one of the 2 POW titles, or is it the pilot who wants to be insane? Or wants to be declared insane, I should say. I want to lose my mind so bad. Because there is that catch. So are we saying missing in action? Like are they like, okay, you don't have to fly, but you're going to do this mission that no one knows about, and that if anything goes wrong, no one's ever going to know that you're lost. So you have to basically, you're on your own, maybe.
I like to think that missing in action is like what they call someone who's clinically insane.
Well, I guess.
Like he's not all there, so they're like, Todd's missing in action.
Todd's MIA in the HEAD. If you know
They're
what
like,
I'm
oh
saying?
shit, we need to go get him. And they're like, no,
No, he's
and
here.
They just like
He's
point to their temple.
Yeah, it's just like that's the poster too. It's just one guy with like a big smirk going, like pointing to his forehead. Missing in action.
Missing in action.
The comedy.
They
comedy
can't
of the
find
year.
what wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And again, like I said, it could be either of the 2 POW things, but if it's one of the 2, which one? Missing in action. So Captain, right? Braddock? Right?
Colonel.
God dang, I keep demoting him or promoting him. I don't even know, really. I don't know if I'm insulting the man or if I'm giving him more than he deserves.
Demoting. I think a captain is above a colonel, right? I don't know.
Sure.
We'll say sure.
But it's Colonel Braddock? Captain. No,
Yeah,
it is
it's
Captain
Colonel.
Braddock.
It is Colonel.
Fuck. Okay, Colonel Braddock. He's related to Colonel Sanders. That's how I'll recall that.
That's right.
Colonel Braddock.
Because all colonels are related.
Colonel Braddock was a chain that was known for salads. Go to Colonel Braddock's, you get a good salad.
That's why you've never heard of it.
That's exactly. Okay, Colonel Braddock going to rescue POWs from the camp that he was missing in action. And then there's still people missing in action that he's going back to get.
Yeah, there's a lot of missing people.
Or there's this last one where these POWs who are missing in action then go on a secret mission, meaning that no one, or not many, not enough potentially, very few people to no one knows about the secret mission. So they're still technically missing.
This goes all the way up to the president?
The president doesn't even know what's going on. It goes beyond the president even.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Okay, so
this is like Parallax View stuff.
Oh, God.
Like with secret organization.
Yeah. So is missing in action, like they're still missing in action because they're on this secret mission? I don't think so. I don't think the stumbling upon the gold thing is missing in action. I think that's going to be given another title. I almost feel like the POW part of this movie is in the beginning and plays even though those characters are going to be with us the whole film, the actual being in tiger cages part, I think it's going to be a very small part of this movie. I think it's going to be in the beginning. We're in the cages. We get rescued. Secret mission takes place. That's
college campus.
Yeah.
Vietnam or bust bag.
Vietnam or bust. Yeah. That's my guess. So I don't think missing in action goes with that one. So for now, I'm going to at least more confidently say it's not movie number 3, but let me hear in the next title. Maybe that'll change.
All right, your second title is going to be Dog Tags.
Ooh, Dog Tags. Dog Tags, man, okay. Could be any of these 3 films equally. I could talk myself into any of these movies.
Yeah, it's pretty just broad war film title.
So, I feel like this is just going to be shoehorned into wherever I can put it whenever I make my selection. I really don't have a reason to call any of these 3 films Dog Tags more than the other film.
Yeah.
I guess like maybe so far, just on feel, the least likely feeling is with the 1970 hoping to be declared insane pilot.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like I said, there is the catch. And what is the catch? Again, does he have to like fake his death and like the dog tags are like given to his wife and his wife's like, oh my God, my husband's died. And then someone's like, shh, he's on a mission. but I can't tell you.
That's all I can say.
That's all I can say. No, so that's the one that feels the least likely. But then again, it wouldn't surprise me if that is the dog tags either. So yeah, I can't put dog tags anywhere. So give me the last title and hopefully that'll help.
All right. Your final title is going to be Catch-22.
Oh, man. Damn, Catch-22. I mean, there is a catch in the first title as far as, or the first movie as far as the synopsis goes.
Yeah. There's
a catch, ... 22.
Maybe 22 is like the number on the side of his plane.
Catch-22. I mean, I do feel like just off of the, like the saying Catch-22,
mm-hmm.
I do feel like maybe the 1970 movie does kind of fit that the most, in the sense that's like, hey, you either go fly the fucking plane like you were supposed to, or we're going to declare you insane and do this other thing that is not desirable. Because that's the catch.
Like you're going to be sent on a secret mission.
Yeah. Or just something not pleasant, or not maybe even more risky, more dangerous. Catch-22. Maybe. And then you could also, I mean, maybe Catch-22 could also be like, hey, I'm gonna free you from these tiger cages specifically, but we're going on this secret mission that no one's going to know about. Do you want to stay in the cage, or do you want to come with me? Wait,
good.
How bad is it? I can't tell you, but it's bad. Yeah. I don't feel like Catch-22 goes with Colonel Braddock.
You got his rank right, too.
I did. Well, I specifically called Colonel Sanders first.
Colonel
That's
Sanders.
what I did. Yeah. I just don't feel like it goes with that, because I don't feel like this is a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. Or at least story. I feel like this is, I mean, I guess it could be. I'm going to talk myself out of it here. I'm going to try not to. but originally I was saying that, like, I think there's a determination here that there's only one possible outcome. I'm going to go save these guys. Now, I could also argue that, like, that's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation. But I don't think Colonel Braddock's caring about his risk that he's going into. That's not how I feel, at least. So I feel like that's not, Catch-22 is not that film. Okay, let me try to recap the title. So I've got Missing in Action,
yeah,
Dog Tags, and then Catch-22. And Catch-22,
I just keep picturing Missing in Action with the guy pointing at his head.
Yeah. Catch-22 sounds familiar, but I don't know if I'm remembering a title to a movie, if I'm remembering Catch Me If You Can, or if I'm just remembering the phrase, it's a Catch-22. So I don't know why that one feels familiar, for sure. Okay. So I'm going to say that, because again, dog tags is the kind of like the one here, the missing
Wild card.
Yeah, not even yeah. It could be any of these. So I really am leaning towards Catch-22 being the 1970 film of the military pilot who makes a valiant effort to be declared insane so that he doesn't have to fly during World War II. But there's a catch. I feel like that one is Catch-22. I feel like the catch part is something just as unwanted as him being told to be a pilot. I don't know what
maybe
that is,
they toss like 22 baseballs at him, and if he's able to catch all of them, then he's not insane.
but if you drop one, firing squad. And I also feel like Catch-22, out of the three titles here, Catch-22 seems, even if it's just slightly, it seems the most tongue-in-cheek. And a movie where a military a military person is wanting to be declared insane also seems a little tongue-in-cheek. I'm not going to go as far as saying that this is a comedy. It wouldn't shock me if it is, but I'm not going to say that. I just feel like there's a little bit of like, about it. And you can quote me on that.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to say that, yeah, the 1970 film for now is Catch-22. So that leaves Colonel Braddock going back to the POW camp from which he escaped to rescue American POWs. Dog tags is just, again, it's just so kind of can be any of these. So is it missing in action? That's the question. He would have been labeled missing in action. Maybe even going back to the POW camp, he gets like relabeled. Like maybe there's like something that goes wrong. He doesn't like radio in or doesn't keep track of him. But
they have the scene with the captain who's like, "How the hell did you find one of our men and then lose him again?"
Yeah. or even more so, like, how did you get lost, found, and then risk getting lost again? I think Colonel Braddock is the one who's labeled missing in action again.
Yeah.
I think that
yeah.
I feel like for some reason I feel like something goes wrong on this mission for him to find, or maybe he doesn't even tell anybody he's going on it. He just goes rogue and just fucking like, I'm fucking going there and getting those guys that they were, for some reason I was rescued, and then they didn't like destroy the camp, and I'm going, it's my personal mission to go do this. So then because of that, he's considered missing in action.
I don't know if he was rescued. It says that he escaped.
True. Yeah, he escaped. Right. So maybe he can't.
And then his other guys were like, "Take us with you," and he's like, "Fuck off." And then like his conscience got the better of him.
I should probably go help him. Yeah, but not the French guys, just the Americans.
Yeah.
So I'm going to label this 1984 film, Colonel Braddock going back to the POW camp, as missing in action. And also because I feel like missing in action has a little bit more weight to it out of all these titles. A little more heft, there's a little more heaviness to that. There's an importance to that is more so than simply dog tags, and definitely more so than Catch-22. So that leaves the 1987 film of the rescued from Tiger Cage's POWs who are sent on a secret mission, who then stumble upon a bunch of gold, and then greed sets in and the mission goes awry. Again, that seems a little bit more unserious, potentially. So because of that, I'm going to label that one dog tags. Just because dog tags can be serious if you put that connotation to it, but I feel like dog tags is just generic enough. It could be anything military related. So maybe that's why it was put on this film. So that's what I'm going to go with. Is that just
And
because
what's
of
your
the
Vinegar
unseriousness?
Syndrome pick?
Oh yeah, the vinegar. Who sniffs the most of vinegar? As we'll call this segment.
That's right.
what was that smell again? Vinegar syndrome. I'm going to stick with. I know. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to change. I'm going to go against my gut. I'm going to re-smell this one, and I'm going to say it's the 1987 film.
Okay.
About stumbling upon gold after being rescued, and then greed sets in. I'm going to say that's the, and only because I feel like maybe the other two films, are not as obscure, or not as hard to find, or not as, or maybe they've already been like, you know, re-released or restored by someone else. The being rescued from a POW camp and then allowing greed to get the best of you seems like a movie that maybe was wanting to be forgot by some people on that crew. Why? I don't know. It feels a little bit of that. So maybe it's like Vinegar Syndrome was like, hey, you know what? No one's asking for this, but we're going to do it to keep them alive anyway. And we're going to offer it on a deal. So
Yeah.
And then you were like, you know what? Sounds interesting, but I've already got a full cart. So
Yeah. Can't squeeze it in.
yeah. Okay. Let me know how bad or well I did.
All right. Well, I can start by saying with your Vinegar Syndrome guess,
Oh, starting
you
there.
are correct.
Oh,
It
I
is the
am.
1987 film.
Nice.
Yes.
Because I was going with I almost went with my gut, which I know is often wrong, which is why I switched. I almost went with a 1970 film just for the sake of whatever. But I was like, nah, I'm too confident, so I'm going to switch it up.
That's right.
And the
then
Captain
for
Braddock
your-
thing, like I said, the Captain Braddock thing, that feels too familiar. And I feel like that's like, even I wouldn't be surprised if that's a Criterion film. So that's why I didn't pick it. So that was my rationale for the Vinegar Syndrome selection. So I got it correct. Now how wrong was I on the titles?
How wrong were you? Indeed, you were 0% wrong. You got them all right.
Oh no way. Okay.
Yeah,
You said 0 and I was like, yep, figures.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so I kind of nailed that one. Unexpectedly. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have the confidence to call that one a hat trick. I'm glad I got it, but I really didn't going into this. And then once you started listing POW films, I mean, like I said, the titles, I can't say that I got all three of those with any confidence at all, actually.
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell.
So I guess just statistically speaking, that's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, so kicking off 1970 with Catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
This is from director Mike Nichols,
Sounds
who
familiar?
you may recognize as the movie just before this one he directed was The Graduate.
Oh, yeah. Mike Nichols. That guy.
That's right. It is a screenplay by Buck Henry based on the novel by Joseph Heller. This movie, at the time of recording, it's available to stream on Apple TV or on Canopy with a library card. The movie has quite a cast. It stars Alan Arkin, Jack Gilford, Bob Newman, Anthony Perkins, Martin Sheen, John Voight, and Orson Welles. So a little fun fact is that the second unit director, John Jordan, refused to wear a harness during the bomber scene, or during a bomber scene, while giving a hand signal to another airplane from the tail gunner position in the camera plane. He lost his grip and fell 4,000 feet to his death.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Maybe wear that harness, bud. Maybe wear the harness.
The production crew were all wore military uniforms during the filming, so if they wandered accidentally into a shot, they wouldn't affect the filming. I thought that was a pretty smart idea. Since shooting took longer than planned, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot Art Garfunkel is in the cast on this. I didn't
Really?
notate that for some reason, but yes, Art Garfunkel, isn't it? So since shooting took longer than planned, Art Garfunkel wasn't able to make it back to New York City in time to start creating harmonies for and recording for the Simon & Garfunkel album Bridge Over Troubled Water. Angered by the delay, Paul Simon wrote the track The Only Living Boy in New York about the incident. The lyrics, quote, Tom, get your plane right on time. I know your part'll go fine. Fly down to Mexico. Where a thinly veiled attack aimed at Garfunkel, who went by Tom as Simon and Garfunkel's earlier incarnation, Tom and Jerry.
Okay.
Leaving Simon alone in New York City to prepare and produce the bulk of the album himself. Aww. Poor Paul.
Poor Paul. As we always say.
1984's Missing in Action will propose possibly a Criterion film. Let's find out. This is from director Joseph Zito. Other films Joseph Zito made that we may be aware of are Invasion USA and Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is written by James Bruner, and we have a characters by credit for Steve Bing, Larry Levinson, Arthur Silver, and story by Lance Houle and John Crowther.
Okay.
If you have this many writers, you know it's good.
Yeah, high quality.
The movie is available at the time of recording on HBO Max. The movie stars Chuck Norris,
oh hell yeah,
Emmett Walsh, and James Hong.
So then I've maybe actually have heard of this.
Yeah, I thought so. The movie actually, so Jean-Claude Van Damme actually was one of the stuntmen for the on this film.
That's awesome.
His name appears in the credits under stunts performed by as J. Claude Van Damme.
J. Claude.
This was before his breakthrough performance in Bloodsport 4 years later,
nice.
1988. So he was a nobody, so to speak. This movie was filmed simultaneously with Missing in Action 2, The Beginning.
Oh.
From June until October of 1984, this was supposed to be the sequel. However, this movie, 1984, Missing in Action, was supposed to be the sequel to the one that was filmed simultaneously with it. So
they filmed Missing in Action 2 at the same time as Missing in Action, but
yes.
Missing in Action was actually supposed to be Missing in Action 2.
However, when the producers realized this film was far better than the other one, they simply renamed them and made the other film a prequel to this one.
Oh, smart.
It says, this explains why Steve Bing receives a credit for characters. And those screenwriters, they have a characters by credit, and it's because they wrote the screenplay for what became the prequel first.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I mean, it's still a lot of writers on one action film.
Correct. I agree. Last but not least,
on one Chuck Norris action film, it's a lot of writers.
Right. Last but not least, the Vinegar Syndrome one. I do not have much at all information. Dog Tags from 1987. This is directed and written by Romano Scavallini, one of our lovely Italian filmmakers. I did not recognize any other films that this guy had done. The movie is available in its uncut version in full on YouTube. So there is a uncut 1 hour and 50-minute version, and that's what the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray is. But there was a censored, cut down version that was 1 hour and 34 minutes. So this movie had like 15 minutes extra in it from the cut down version. The film's DP, Clive McCollum, was a camera operator, funny tie-in by accident, on Bloodsport. He was also a camera operator on the original Jumanji.
Wow.
And on the film Star 80. And he was a B camera operator on Scary Movie.
Wow.
Yeah. This dude had quite a career, it seems like.
I guess, you know, I mean, not to downplay the position of camera operator, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, a camera's a camera, regardless of the genre that or the story that is being told. You know, so if you're good at operating it, it doesn't matter what the movie is, you can get the job done. Yeah,
and good on him. You know what? None of those movies look bad.
Yeah,
can't say any of them look bad. Have you ever seen Star 80? Sidebar.
I never heard of it. I don't think
it was the final movie from Bob Fosse before he died.
Oh wow, okay.
I've been wanting to watch it for years, and I still haven't. That's why I was curious. Anyway, so with this, what do you think about the ratings on these? I will say that 2 of these 3 films have the exact same star rating.
It's interesting because 2 of these 3 films are available at We Love Video in Austin, Texas.
Is Missing in Action and Catch-22, I assume?
Yes, Dog Tags is not available. At least, sorry, I say that with a caveat. I can only search their online catalog, and it didn't show up on their online catalog. But their online catalog is also not complete. So
Yeah.
but the other two films are available in physical versions. So okay, I don't know how I'm going to rate these. I mean, early '80s Chuck Norris was fun. Regardless of like it being like high quality, it was just entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that Braddock name, I recognize this. So I also wonder if he like used that name in other films, maybe. I don't know.
That's the only name he uses in any of his movies.
Or like, yeah, referenced it somewhere. And then we have Catch-22.
You're gonna be working in a soup deli in this film, Chuck. And he's like, well, make Colonel Braddock work. That's the
name. Chef Braddock. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if and you didn't say, but I don't know, and don't tell me, but I don't know if the two that are tied at the top or tied at the bottom.
It is one of those two choices.
Yeah, because I really don't know where Catch-22 goes in all of this.
Yeah.
Like Dog Tags.
Yeah.
Dog Tags maybe sounds. I'm trying to think. So basically, what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to figure out which two films feel like they might have the same level of either entertainment or quality as far as someone might rate it. And I don't. And basically, I'm using Missing in Action as like the equalizer. So are either of the other two films as enjoyable, seemingly, as high quality, seemingly, as Missing in Action, or are they less? That's where my mind's going right now. So I'll give you a range first. How about that? I'll give you a range of 6'2". That seems really generous now that I say that out loud. I'll stick with it though. I'll give you a range of 6'2" to 5 even.
Okay.
On this. So slightly average to above average films. And I'm going to say that Missing in Action is number 1. And I'm only saying I'm really not going to be shocked if I'm completely wrong about that, but my basis is going off of those early Chuck Norris films were just a good time. They weren't necessarily like awesome cinema, or you weren't changed as a person after seeing that. But I think they delivered upon what they promised, which wasn't much, but a good time, which was also me in college. So I'm going to put Missing in Action at number 1. And then I'm going to say that Catch-22 and Dog Tags are tied for number 2 or number 3 position, I guess. So tied together. Okay?
All right. I'm surprised.
Oh, really?
That's your guess.
Are you really surprised that I would say make the guess that ridiculous?
Yeah. Do you need me to reread you the Catch-22 cast?
I mean, listen, like no. Well, the only reason I said, because I mean, I'm just going off of. I'm not saying that like Catch-22, and maybe I just gave like the wrong range, but I just feel like, again, I'm fine with being wrong, but I'm saying that my reasoning here is I think that fewer people will have rated Missing in Action really low.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to rate it like average or slightly above average, so it's going to stay around where it belongs. Whereas the other films, I feel like you're going to have a wider range of people either rating it really well or rating it less than average. So that's where I feel like it's going to kind of draw it down some. But again, totally fine with being wrong.
Let's do one also really, really fast add-on to it. Put the order
of views
of how many ratings each one has, do you think?
I'll say Catch-22 does have the most.
Okay.
I'll say Missing in Action is second, and I say Dog Tags is third.
Okay. All right, well, that order is correct.
Like you say, that order is correct. You don't even have to tell me if I got the ratings correct. There was so much information in that.
So The top-rated one this week,
Well, that one's
with
correct.
a 7.1 out of 10,
Oh wow.
is Catch-22,
Wow.
1970, from
Okay.
director Mike Nichols.
Well, I mean, it's Mike Nichols, so I mean that I'm not shocked
Yeah.
by that at all.
A big fat hack.
Yeah, yeah. But is Missing in Action tied with a Mike Nichols film? That's the question.
That is a great question. I will say, really quick fun fact. I don't know if I've ever told you or not, but I was like absolutely shocked the first time I watched The Graduate by how good it was.
Yeah.
Because it was a movie that I had known my whole life, just like obviously from like the famous moment, like this Trying to Seduce Me moment,
Oh yeah.
and the
yeah.
poster artwork. And I was always my whole life under the impression that it was like a goofy comedy movie is what I thought it was.
Okay. Yeah.
And I started watching it, and as soon as it started with that Sound of Silence
the
airport
airport walkway.
opening credit sequence,
Yeah.
one of the best opening credit
Yeah.
sequences of all time, I was just like, whoa, I did
mean, I
not
could
expect
talk-
this.
I'm not
And
a
then it dissolves into Dustin Hoffman in front of that fish tank
yes. Yep.
in the background there.
Yeah.
And like just the tone of it was a lot more like gloomy. There was like a lot more of like a depressing
Yeah.
tone to it, and I was so shocked by that in
Yeah.
a good way.
I'm not
That I got like borderline obsessed with that movie, and I watched it like over and
Over
over
and
again. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. Sorry, I don't mean to say that like I don't like it. I'm just not. I kind of forget that The Graduate exists sometimes,
Mhm.
but I could also talk about it a lot because there's
Yeah.
so much stuff that's.
Whenever you remember it exists.
Yes, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that movie, yeah. But like that's one of the movies that got me into cinematography and like telling more with camera, and especially with like staging
Mhm.
and framing,
Yeah.
than what is being said out loud. And there's and also, I mean, the directing is great. Dustin Hoffman's performance is fantastic. I mean, there's just so much good about that movie that like the thing that I don't like about that movie the most is the ending.
Mhm.
And that's not to say that the ending's bad. It's just like for me, I want like all of the first 98% of the movie just to keep going forever.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, there's so much stuff visually, like, you know, there's all the visual elements. Yeah, it's just but that's, you know, Mike Nichols doing great stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that that's 7.1. And I mean, yeah.
While that movie's like a classic, I also at the same time feel like it isn't talked about enough.
No, it isn't. Yeah, I really think it's like,
I think everyone else is like you, and they're like, "Yeah, I forget it exists."
Yeah, I really think
but
so.
then when I remember it exists,
it's like, oh,
I
fucking
remember
shit, it's
really
amazing.
fucking
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't, because it took me a long time to watch it too, and once I finally did, I think it was, I mean, I don't want to say that it was in film school. I feel like I did watch it before then, but I think it was like as I was getting interested in film school. So like, it was after high school that I saw it for sure. I just can't remember if it was
Me too.
pre-film school or during film school. But yeah, and I did of course watch it in film school as well. But yeah, I didn't really know what to expect the first time, and then kind of like you, my expectations, whatever they were, I was like, holy shit, this is like so much more than what, you know, on the surface it seems like it's going to be. And of course, you know, there's the iconic classic scenes of the seducing thing through the legs, and you know, there's all those shots, but then there's so much more of that, and it means so much more than just like being unique with the camera. And I think there's a lot to discuss and a lot to learn from how the camera moves in that film that unfortunately you don't see a lot of today.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like really subtle stuff that you don't, for a film that like is low key on action.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of stuff happening visually that's like, holy fuck, they're doing that, you know? So yeah, I don't know how much of that's going to make it into the episode, but Mike Nichols being on the top of our current IMDb ranking, it doesn't surprise me. I was maybe giving old Chuck Norris a little bit more than what he deserves. But anyway, so what's the second film?
Yeah. So I can tell you that tied in last is
Okay.
Missing in Action and Dog Tags, both with a 5.4 out of 10.
Okay, so I was closer on the ranking with, the
I
bottom
didn't
of that.
say. Catch-22, 7.1, based off of 27,138 ratings.
Wow.
Missing in Action, 5.4 from 17,193 ratings. And Dog Tags, 5.4 off of 281 ratings.
Okay.
Steep drop off. Yeah.
I will still put money on Missing in Action having a more average, throughout all of those ratings, a more consistent rating than Catch-22. I bet you Catch-22 still has a bigger jump between highest and lowest, whereas I feel like middle of the road. I think everyone rated middle of the road for Missing in Action. It is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. It is what it is.
Well, luckily you can see the rating spread via like a bar graph.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Catch-22 kind of
I'm sure it's
goes
heavily
up and it peaks at 7.
Yeah.
And then it kind of has a slow decline, 8, 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
And Missing in Action has it kind of a slow escalation. It peaks at 5. 5 and 6 are both almost the same height, and then it's a steep drop off to 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
and then 10 has more than 9 and 8. It looks like.
Oh wow! So people actually were rating it 10s, huh?
The people who gave it a 10, yeah,
it was me.
There's more people who gave it 10s than 9s or 8s.
I don't even know if I've even seen the film. I just recognize the character.
You're just gonna go give it a 10.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
But do we have any tags or any quotes from this?
Yeah, I'm gonna skip tag me this week. I'm sorry to all our listeners. I am gonna go to a
quote time
because I did get that ready. This is where I go to the quote section and read a quote in a character of Will's choosing from one of these films, and then he tries to guess which film the quote came from. You do have, as I've been able to find recently, fortunately, I have one line from one character.
Okay. I want you to give this to me as someone who has been pushed to the brink. Nearly, death would be better. You've been in a cage for who knows how long, and you can decide if it's Tiger or not. But you've been in a cage for who knows how long, and you are now being rescued. So I think the feeling here that you might want to play with is you're kind of, I mean, you're definitely excited potentially, but I think also you're at such the end of suffering that you almost can't believe. You don't even want to put faith in this being real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where we're at.
Okay.
It's heavy.
Yeah. All right. And as written on IMDb, the quote reads as follows. Get back in the car, you smirking slut.
Get back in the car, you smirking slut.
Yeah.
Oh. All his suffering.
I wanted to really yell that, but I can't because I live in an apartment, just so everyone knows.
Gosh. Well, I mean, I don't think the motivation I gave you that you would have truly yelled it. I think you were closer to what I was imagining. Can you say that one more time?
Get back in the car, you smirking slut! Exclamation point.
So the line is delivered as a yell. Okay. As written. Or at least as an exclamation, we'll say. But it definitely doesn't feel like it's from a POW. At least not one who was recently freed from a cage. I mean, unless it's like a captor, maybe that's what it is.
They have like this POW with like lipstick on and stuff.
Oh my gosh. Get back in the car, you smirk. I was not expecting that at all. Okay, oh gosh. I don't imagine, I don't feel like this would be a Chuck Norris movie.
Mhm.
The question is it Dog Tags? Or is it Mike Nichols?
A question that is often wondered.
Yes. Get back in the car, you smirking slut. Where I'm trying to, the reason I'm being hesitant about this is I'm trying to even picture in any of these movies where this scene might even take place.
Like a flashback to like their previous life before the military or something.
maybe that's what it is. Like this POW who's just like, he knows he's about to die, and just memories are just going through his mind of a life
Really
lived.
makes the audience hate this fucker
And
before he fucking
just
gets killed.
He knows that, he'll probably never get back to his mom or his dad or his buddy Jim.
Oh, what if he said this to his mom?
I'm going for like, he's going through all these like really sentimental memories of people that he loves and cherishes and has, wonderful memories of. And then he gets to like the memory of Kathy, and and it's just him remembering that he yelled at her, "Get back in the car, you smirking slut!" And and he's like, "Oh, I'll never get to do that again." Okay, I don't know, but this is tough. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna go with 1970s Catch-22.
All right.
And I'm going to say that it's the guy who's trying to be the crazed or the labeled insane pilot, our main character.
Okay. You have the movie right. You have the character wrong. It is delivered by a General Dreidel, as played by Orson Welles.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. I should have had you do an Orson Welles.
Charles Foster Kane delivered...
Can you do an Orson Welles?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just like a... I don't think so.
Do
I don't
an
think
older,
I can...
drunk Orson
Welles. He has like a really nice voice.
Yeah,
I don't think I can...
Okay,
I can do it.
That's fun, though. Oh, all right. And have you seen this movie?
Get back in the car, you smirking slut.
There we go. There we go.
That was really bad, but that's the best I can do.
Have you seen
No, I have not seen... No, I have not.
Okay, I think we have to figure out where Orson Welles says this. Like, what is the context of this? Is it in the beginning, middle, or end? We'll start there.
I'm gonna guess that it's like it's not toward the begin. It's not the beginning of the movie. Maybe it's like second act.
Or let me ask this
which
question:
I think is more what you're asking.
Is it early on in this character's introduction? Is it later in this character's arc?
I think it's earlier on.
Okay, yeah. So this is early.
I think this is like one of the first times you see him, if not the first time you see him, and it's like the introduction to this character, and you're like, okay, what the fuck is up with this guy?
It establishes this guy's whole persona. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. So this is early on in this Orson Welles character, which the character's name was what? It was
General Dreidel.
Okay, so this is a higher level person. What is the context of this? Who is the slut that he's demeaning?
I think Alan Arkin, who plays the no, not him.
Okay.
That's my answer.
I was like, really? Okay, continue.
No, Alan Arkin plays the main character who's trying to get certified insane.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm gonna say that at some point he is like instructed to go see General Dreidel or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he's walking over there and or like he sees General Dreidel like sitting in the front of like a military vehicle.
Okay. Yep.
And out of the passenger side, this like a prostitute or his wife
steps out
like angrily, and then he gets out of his side of the car and yells at her, or out of the vehicle, and says, "Get back in the car, you smirking slut."
Okay.
And then he like, oh, and he like realizes that Alan Arkin's there, and he's like, "Oh, private, like, what do you need?" or whatever. Yeah, like he gets caught off guard by Alan Arkin.
Okay, so what is Alan Arkin's character's reaction to this, and then also what happens after? Like how do we get out of that moment?
General
is Alan Arkin's character like surprised by this, or is he like afraid of this?
He is, but he knows that he has to try to act insane, so he tries to act as if like he didn't even notice it or something.
Okay.
Like he is surprised, so we have like a reaction shot where we like see him react to it.
Whoa.
And then we have like Orson Welles being like, "Oh, hey,
you caught me. Sorry."
what are you looking at, private?" or some shit like that. And then Alan Arkin kind of like snaps back into where he's like trying to act like he's crazy, and he like crosses his eyes or something.
Okay, so
because as we all know, crossed eyes means clinically insane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
which is a joke.
Does the person who Orson Welles was yelling at, do they get back in the vehicle? Do they storm off? Do they like what happens whenever Alan Arkin's character is discovered to have witnessed this?
They do get back in the vehicle, or Orson Welles is like he like turns around and mumbles to her like in her direction, like, "Just sit your ass back down in the seat and I'll be back out here in a minute." And he's like, "All right, private, what do you need?" And he like brings him into his like fucking whatever, like office, whatever they have.
Yeah, sure.
Barracks, whatever it is.
So she's just sitting out there.
She's like sitting out there with like the windows cracked.
I was going to say, like, whenever they're in the office together and they're discussing whatever it is that they need to discuss, do we constantly have her in like the background, like out the window of this office, just like
Orson Welles keeps like turning, like swiveling around in his chair and like looking.
Yeah. Or actually, it'd be great if like if we rewrite this scene and carry this idea, but instead of the introduction as you have it being "Get back in the car, you smirking slut," like what if Alan Arkin's character is going, as you said, is going to meet this general. They're in the general and some other companion is in the car, and this catches the general off guard. Maybe he doesn't want to reveal who this companion is. Maybe it's not his wife, right? So he just tells her, you stay here. And then he gets out of the vehicle, meets up with Alan Arkin's character. They go into the office. We have this conversation, and as you said, we can see her in the vehicle out the window, and Orson Welles' character keeps like looking, like checking in on her, basically. But then after a few minutes of conversation from Alan Arkin giving his case as to him being insane or whatever, she gets out of the vehicle, and then he just interrupts the conversation and like opens the window and is like, "Get back in the car, you smirking slut!" like we put that in the middle of the scene, so then it snaps.
Yeah.
It snaps this act that Alan Arkin's character is doing a little bit. It kind of snaps him out of that like pretend insane man, because he's being startled by that.
Yeah, but then he realizes that he snapped out of it, and so whenever Orson Welles turns back around, Alan Arkin like he also like runs over to the window and says, "Yeah, you slut." He like
yeah. Okay, I like that. So then to wrap it up, what is the general's reaction to this lower ranking individual doing this action?
Orson Welles just like stares at him for a beat.
You're like
in, like
me.
Silence. I was gonna say, and he's just like, "Get the hell out of my sight!" Like you're dismissed, private.
Oh, it's like or that's where we discover like who that companion is, and Orson Welles' character goes, "You don't talk to my wife like that."
Yeah, that's my sister.
Yeah.
Or like my daughter. That's my daughter.
You don't address my mother like that. I love that. Then that's the end of the scene. And then, like, maybe at some other time, we come back to that office, and it's nighttime now, and we just do like an establishing shot, and she's still in the car, she's still in the Jeep or whatever it is, just sitting there, just.
I don't know why. The first thing that came into my mind whenever you said it's like nighttime and we're back there again, for whatever reason, the first thing that I pictured in my head was Orson Welles sitting in his office there, like with a pair of panties, just like inhaling them. Can you imagine Orson Welles?
I am now.
And like Alan Arkin's character comes back in there and like finds him doing that.
Or we just cut to that scene. It's just like just a throwaway scene. Alan Arkin's character doesn't come back, but we just hear Orson Welles' character goes, like, he sniffs it. He goes, "You smirking slut." And that's it.
That's the last time we see his character. Like that's his final.
That's
final,
it.
And he kind of does like a smirk and like a head nod, like shake whenever he says it. "You smirking slut."
And then he puts the underwear on. He was talking about himself the whole time.
Or he stands up and he's wearing another pay already.
Oh my god! I don't want to imagine Orson Welles doing any of that.
Orson Welles.
Oh god!
Yeah.
What was that called again? Get me out of this. Orson Welles in red underwear.
Charles Foster Kane wearing red silk panties.
Red Bud.
Oh god.
Oh god. Okay. Orson
Well,
Welles.
none of us feel good about that
No,
creative
no, we
segment.
don't.
I don't think.
I don't feel good about imagining any of that as Orson Welles. It's disturbing. Okay, let me stop this.